Hello everybody and welcome back to Fantasy Revolution 11. My name is Dacian, I am on Bard, and today I'm going to walk you through how to do Tax'et. And I'm probably going to slaughter the names today because half these abilities and half these things I have absolutely no idea how to say. But you'll be able to see them, hopefully you guys can figure it out. We are in the battlefields here at G10. Now this is where you actually pop the NM. Our basic party setup, real quick. We got a Bard or Corsair in all three parties. We have a White Mage in all three parties, a Paladin, and the rest are damage dealers. So, about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 11 damage dealers, which is awesome. We do have, in the background, you can see a Summoner, so I'm not really sure how to classify that. I guess I classify that as a support job, not really a damage dealer. But, let's just get right to the fight, and I can walk you guys through how to do this. So, quick jump cut, and we got it. As I said, we're in G10 of the battlefields. The pop is literally right there, and we did the actual mage slash damage dealer split. So, damage dealer is up front, mage is in the back, and everything's good. Now, the first part of this fight is, I want to say, pretty straightforward. What you're going to be doing is enfeebling and trying to feed him TP, because he has to use exviation 20 times. When you spawn this mob, he actually has a 99% damage reduction. So, yeah. But to beat that, you have him do exviation. Every time he does exviation, he actually loses some of his defense. So basically towards the 20 mark, you're actually going to see being able to do a good amount of damage. Now 20 seems to be like that lucky perfect number for this fight. I'm not sure if that's the maximum, I don't know if it's the minimum, but it seems to be what works out, because I did this fight about 14 times, 15 times to get this win, and he's just a hard monster, because you can't really do any debuffs, and his evasion is so high that you can't really counter his evasion with debuffs on the mob because you can't enfeeble him. So kind of a catch-22. Because of that, you have, as I said, a Bard or a Corsair in all the parties. I have seen it where you have both a Bard and a Corsair in the party. But the major thing is you want to actually give your damage dealers some extra accuracy and haste, of course, because everyone loves haste. This is a timed battlefield, so you have 20 minutes once you pop it. As I said, we're in the battlefield, so this is considered an outside zone fight. You can also do this NM in the Fracture, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Same strategies, though. Definitely something that you want to master, because this actually gives you access to the key items to the Reaver, the Great Katana, the hand-to-hand, and I think that's the only notable weapons. But still, this is something that we're all going to be chasing after, and I definitely have been chasing after this for a couple days, and I'm super excited that we were able to get the win. Even more excited that I was able to get the video that I can put it up for you guys. So in my party, actually, I'm going to talk about my party real quick, because I can speak for all the other parties, but this is the party that I was in. I had 3 Dark Knights, a White Mage, a Summoner, and a Bard. Now, the Summoner was playing more of the support Summoner, giving the damage dealers buffs. We were using Diablos for his magic defense, also Fenrir for his accuracy and evasion bonus. I was doing March and Madrigal, so that my damage dealers had speed and accuracy, and of course the White Mage was just healing everything. Now, the other parties that we had, I want to talk about. We had a main tanking party. As you can see, we had a Paladin. His party had a Corsair, a Red Mage, a White Mage, and 2 damage dealers. So a pretty standard tank party, other than the fact that you don't have the double Bard Corsair setup, but still had enough MP regain to stay with it. The last damage dealer party had a White Mage, a Bard, and Monk, and I want to say the rest were Dark Knights. So another party that pretty much mirrors mine. and they definitely needed their accuracy. I would highly suggest that anyone in these fights that is a direct damage to get Sushi. Sushi is going to be the key. The ability that gives you higher accuracy, stacked with the Bard spells, stacked with the buffs, and any other support that you can get is highly needed. This mob's evasion is just out of the park. I mean, even with all the buffs that we had, a lot of damage dealers were still saying that they could barely hit. So definitely something that you kind of want to keep an eye on and keep in an idea when you're talking about this NM, especially setting up these parties. Now, once you get past this first stage, which is the 20 expiations, which because this is like a two-part stage, I'm calling that the first stage. The next stage is actually where you want to stop the enfeebles, so no enfeebling magic throughout the rest of the fight, and the rest of it is just basically zerging it down. Now, he can cast fire spells, AoE, which you want to keep bar fire up. Also, bar fire helps with some of his weapon skills. He doesn't have anything too devastating weapon skill wise, but I do want to take a note. He does have a ability to do an AoE fire attack, which does about 300 to 400 damage, I found, plus the Dia effect on you, so you have defense down, which is actually more painful than the actual attack because it'll make his attack do about double to you. So, and that's what the Paladin was talking to me about. Which, you know, if you're taking on 100 hit per hit on Paladin, you're going to be taking at least 2 to 3 on any damage dealer, and you know that doubled is 600 or 2 to 3. So that's still heavy hit. And I mean, our Paladin had the Aegis and the O-Chain, so just an idea to keep in mind. This mob is not a joke. Now, once we actually get this about halfway, you're gonna see that nothing changes. He doesn't do like a I want to say tech swap where he gets access to a different weapon skill or anything like that, but he definitely starts using his weapon skills more frequently, which is, I guess, like any other mob. But you definitely want to make sure that your damage dealers can keep up with it. Now, our white mages actually do run very low on MP, even with the ballads, even with the refreshes and convert. So you're going to be running through a lot of MP. This fight is just like the Kieran fights I kind of want to compare it to on the scale of how hard it is, because these mobs just are high evasion, high damage output, massive area effects. I mean, I guess Kieran doesn't have that 20-minute time limit, which makes this fight just even more harder. So, yeah, in the last update, Square Enix went through and gave all these NMs 20-minute time limits, which kind of even made it harder. So, you basically want to be halfway through the fight. You should have the expiations done within the first 3 to 4 minutes. That way you get about 15 minutes to kind of put them down, which seems to be about that right balance. Because if you take a little bit longer on that first stage, you just don't have enough time to do the amount of damage that you need to finish him. Because we actually have had one depop, because we had it down to about 10-12%, but it just was like, yeah, I'm bored with you guys. So definitely keep haste on your damage dealers, keep those bard buffs, and basically AI go all out once he hits that stage. There's no turning back and saying, okay, Paladin, hold it for a little bit, and you know, let the damage dealers and the white mages heal up. There's just no stopping, which makes this fight very tough and is really, really a challenge. But it's a lot better than the other NM that you could do, which I guess I'll talk about that plus Fracture right now. You have the option, because T4, T5 give you access to the weapons of all these NMs. Now there's 3 different zones. You have the fort, you have the battlefields, and you have one more, the fields. Each area has its own weapons and armor. Now T1 through 3 in each of the areas gives you the armor, and 4 and 5 give you the weapons. Now if you beat tier 5, you get the weapons. If you beat 3 to 1, you get the armor. Now you're probably saying, well, if you beat tier 5, do you get all the armor also? No, it doesn't work like that. It's actually a split. You have 1 through 3 and then 4 and 5. Now you can beat 4 or 5 and still get the access to the tier 5 weapons without having to beat the tier 5. So, and this is from the Plasma NPC. It is right across from the Inventors Guild, so you've probably seen him, and if not, you know what, I actually might post in the description below that NPC's name, because it's relatively important. But yes, now you can't even look at anything before you get these key items, because the NPC will literally talk to you, he'll tell you how much you got, but other than that, he's not going to give you anything, which, you know, is, I don't want to say frustrating, because I definitely wanted to compare the weapons, but, you know, you just have to do some poking out the outside. Now, as I was going to say, the Gnat, which is the tier 4 on this battlefield, is a pain in the butt. If you remember Tunga with his wonderful petrification and his AoE stone, you're gonna just love the Gnat, because the Gnat does, I don't want to say the exact same thing, but pretty much the same thing. He loves to use his stone, he loves to use his petrify, and he loves to do AoE silence and slow and amnesia, and it's just a mess. I actually tried that one the other night, and it went miserably. I mean, for lack of better words, it just went miserably. But, you know, hey, you gotta test it out. We were hoping that maybe it was a little bit easier, and, you know, it wasn't. So, both these NMs, I guess the next thing I should go on is the fact that you can fight both of these NMs in the Fracture. Now, you do need the Wildkeeper Reeve key item to actually access the Fracture. And by that I mean you only have to have the leader who enters the battlefield and brings everyone in. You don't actually need it, but someone in your alliance does. Which, that key item, I don't even know offhand how to get it. But I believe it is picking out, I believe, the colonization Reeves for like 100k worth of points, and then you end up going to a battlefield of some type. I'll look into that, because I'm not sure. I honestly haven't done that. I've been very lucky and have other people enter for me. So, definitely something. But, in those battlefields, you basically have it's a 45-minute battlefield, but you have 15 minutes to farm. Just kill the monsters in the area to get some plasm, and after that you have the NM area. Now, the NMs open up at about 30 minutes, so you have a 30-minute window to kind of kill those NMs, which gives you 10 more than the outside battlefields. But inside the Fractures, you do have to worry about A, other NMs that you don't want to fight, B, all the mobs that are in there because they respawn. It's kind of like if you haven't been in there, it's kind of like a open field kind of fight in a cave, almost like Assault, but the mobs repop like real quick. So a little bit harder because you have to manage those two things. But I suppose if you were able to get into a position where, and there is spots there to set up camps and fight like this, you know, you get 10 extra minutes, which in some of the parties that I've been in, 10 extra minutes would have probably been the difference between a win and a loss, because I've got this NM down to 10-15% about 3 times. 2 of them timed out, and this was the last time that we actually beat it. So, you know, you do have to do a lot of damage in 20 minutes when you're outside, but you also have to do a lot of damage in 30 minutes inside. So some people have been saying that the inside NM is easier than the outside. I don't believe so yet. I've found no information at all about the NMs inside the Fractures being like weaker or easier than the outside NMs. So if you guys do find information confirming that the inside Fractured NMs are easier, at least stats wise, let me know. But I do also have the videos from when I went into Fracture and tried this NM. I might post those also, just kind of as a, you know, this is what happens, because if you haven't been inside the Fractures, they're kind of a really cool area, because when you walk in, you basically are staring at 3 NMs, which are kind of just like, really? But I mean, so far the strategy is to have a paladin hold those or sack them away from the group, and then slowly work your way into the interior where the NMs are. And I honestly don't know maps wise. I don't know too much more. I've only done farming stuff in there, but I'm gonna look into that. I'll post a video on that stuff. So, and towards the end of this fight, I mean, there's not really too much to talk about because it's a straightforward fight once you get past the enfeebling stage and also finishing up with the damage stage. Now, you definitely are going to get low on MP towards the end, so some medications that help your mages might be helpful and all that other stuff, but I don't really know what else to talk about right now because I've read through my notes once again. Man, I've gotten really good at just running through all my notes and having to ramble on for the last like 2 minutes of the video. But no, we're gonna talk about Final Fantasy. So let's see. All the Dark Knights in here should be getting to be Reavers, and this NM actually can drop a Reaver. He will drop a lot of elixirs, which I don't even know the count, and you have a chance at one of the weapons that the NM drops, because you can't drop multiple, or else at least I haven't seen any pictures or anything like that, and everything that I've read, it's always only one. So you're gonna have a chance at one weapon, and same with the tier 4. Now tier 4 and tier 5 weapons, there is a split. I don't know where it is, but I think it's like hand to hand. Great Katana and Pole are on the tier 4, and then Great Sword, Scythe, and Shield is on this one. I could be wrong, but you get access to all those actually once with this key item, so you can take a look at them, see which ones you want to get. Now, all those weapons are the ones with the 100 plus or 200 plus damage, which they're just amazing. I mean, these things, if you want a good weapon for a job that you don't play that often, like half the jobs that I have, you're definitely gonna want to look at those and grab those as soon as possible. Also, you can upgrade them with the elixirs and actually get the additional buffs on it, like plus accuracy, plus attack, and plus strength, which you'll want to look at and see which one you want to upgrade. But there's the fight. We got the win, and the key item you also get right there. So that's it. Yeah. Not too much more to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this is helpful, and I will see you guys in the game as I make more videos. So good luck, and I will see you in the game.